And then
it feels like I don't that's why I get so upset with Christians, because it's like y'all don't get that we learned early that we are not wanted. Like, y'all don't have an idea of what it feels like to not be wanted by your own father or by your own mother. And then you guys get upset when we have representation that identifies with us. And it's like, that's all we have. Because we are always alone majority of the time. Y'all don't know that because you guys are part of the majority. Y'all don't see that. Like, it's just it's heartbreaking, and we build walls up, we build attitudes, we build defenses because we have to. We're always alone a lot of the time, even from our families. Like, we just want to feel human.
That's the worst part about it, though. It's because it's not, you're getting this persecution and hatred when it's coming from the white community to the black community. Is more these people are strangers. We don't know these white people that are coming against us. A lot of these people are just random police officers and whatnot. These are strangers. But then when it's coming from your own family members who are just throwing you away and being like, well, if you're going to be gay, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Like, you have so many kids that are thrown out at 14, 15 years old, and so to get out of my house because you're gay. I don't have anything to do. Poll show that right there. The show poll show that where kids are just being thrown away like trash just because something you can't fix about yourself, just because you don't like it, or like you said, you are ashamed of it. Because I do remember my mother telling me that when she first found out about me. I remember her saying, "Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone else in the family about this, because I couldn't face them if they knew that my son was like that." So it's that, like, so now, you know, I'm this disgrace. I'm this, you know, it's just like, how do you think that makes a person feel? Like, it's something I can't help. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not doing anything to anybody. All I'm doing is this. I can't help who I'm attracted to. That's all.
Right, Gil, I want you to know also, I have an 18-year-old son, and my husband is probably the most manliest man I know. He told me, if my son came to me and told me he was gay, that's my son. I have to love my son. So it's not everybody. It's not. I'm telling you that. I know it's a vast majority, and it's the ignorance. It's them not being taught. It's them not understanding that we are commanded to love one another, and that is it. We're not supposed to be passing judgment. We don't have a heaven or hell to put anyone in. I can't save your soul. I can't condemn you to hell. And guess what? Even if I thought, you know, you were sinful, hell, I'm sinful too. I cannot throw the stone at you, is my point. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to get. I want you to know. Not everybody had that same experience. Like, I mean, every gay person didn't feel the way you feel, Gil. I'm sorry to say that. I never felt that way. While my heart goes out to you, it really does. I don't want you to. That's why I keep saying that not every person have the same experience. Like she just said, her husband said that he will love his son regardless. And there are people out there who love their gay children. There are people who have positive gay childhood.
Yeah.
So we need to while we're experiencing our own pain, we also need to make room for, in our minds and hearts, that everyone else does not understand because they haven't experienced it, because they don't understand it. So you have to have a little bit of compassion for them as well. I know it's hard to do that when we're going through our own stuff, but that's what love is. When we say we can love each other, we need to love people who even just don't love us as well. It's hard, but we still got to do that.
And I actually, you know what, Gil, I asked Lacey to come back up, because Lacey is a male of a certain age, and he had typed in the chat that he felt exactly how you feel at one time. I actually did as well, but what ended up happening, Gil, because I thought I was completely done with the whole church thing and the religion thing and all of that, and then I actually did run into a female pastor and a male pastor that were married, that I received love from. I received love. It was the complete opposite of what my experience had been early on with the church. And through them, I ended up being able to build that personal relationship that everybody talks about. Now, both of them have passed on. I end up having another bad situation at the church. I don't go to church right now. I don't go to church at all. I haven't been to church in years. But the relationship, that relationship everybody's talking about, I ended up building that relationship when they were alive. The relationship didn't go anywhere. So when the bad thing happened at the church again, it didn't affect me at all. I just stopped going to the church. But the relationship that I had is still there. And I'm fine. And I'm fine. So what I'll say is I've been there and I'm past that. I'm past that. And definitely I understand it's easier said than done. It took years and years and years because I had given up on it. I really did. I had given up on it. But Lacey, if you would.
No, I was going to say it, and I think too, it's a lot of hypocrisy within the Black church, because you have someone like, for an example, Jamal Bryant, who this man is going around philandering, sleeping with all of the women in the church, having all these babies out of wedlock, but you still have these flock of people that follow this man blindly, and there's always excuses made for him, but then you have a gay person and they're like put down. That's the one thing you can't do in the church. You can be an adulterer, which is all of these are also sins in the church, but you never hear pastors preaching to these people are going to hell and going to be condemned, but then they'll preach fire and brimstone to a gay person. Right. So it's a lot of that is this. It's the hypocrisy within the church. If you're going to preach about one thing, preach about everything. Preach about all the stuff. Preach about everything that is listed as sins in the Bible. Don't just preach about one thing but not the other. So
I didn't believe it. I did not believe. I was like, no, they're all like that. It is what it is. I'm not going to do it. I was really, really over it. Like, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear nothing about it. But once that relationship was built, once I had my own personal relationship with my Creator, when it is so true, there is nothing and no one that can actually come in and shake that relationship at all. Nothing that anybody says to me, I hear darn near daily down here, sitting where I sit on this platform. Daily, I hear about how God don't love me, and it don't affect me because I don't believe it. I know it to be wrong.
Amen, James. Amen.
I know it to be wrong. I wouldn't even be here. I'm 49. I would have died with that cancer that rolled up on me at 44. I would have been gone.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing nobody could tell me because the relationship is there, was built. Once that real relationship is there and not nobody dancing, not nobody singing, not nobody speaking in tongues, but not really, none of that stuff.
The Bible has been being misused from the beginning of time. White people misuse the Bible to make us believe one thing. Life started in Africa. If white people were so smart, they would have changed Jesus's race in the Bible. He's not a white man. So I just want you to understand that, even though there's some things in the Bible that I don't understand, Gil, I don't.
Right, but they ain't never going to read right. Some of it never will read. Right. In the first 20 pages, it will never read right to you.
Right.
You listen to it, you read it, you take what you need.
Right.
To get what you need and go on. And I think when I got stung again, when I bought into the inner workings of the church. When I bought into the inner workings of the church, I have a video on here talking about it. I bought into those inner workings of the church and things didn't work out again. It stung. It hurt like hell. But my foundation was already there. So
Right.
it didn't matter what they were doing at the building. And at that point, I already knew. I was like, I ain't got to go back up there because the church is a building. All of that, what I need was all in here. Saying I ain't
For
been
me,
back.
for
Go
me,
ahead.
I totally stopped believing in God and all that stuff. Basically because I felt he didn't believe in me. And so for me, I went through other methods of ascension, and I'm happy with that. You know, I'm happy with being spiritual. I'm happy with being kind to other humans. Like I have so many stories of so many different humans that I've helped, just giving them food or giving them like company, or like there's certain things that we can do as human beings that a lot I don't want to say a lot of Christians, but I feel like certain Christians don't necessarily do. Just being a listening ear, because a lot of people talk because they just need someone to talk to, um,
Right.
or they need food. I've helped, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. I've helped so many homeless people, and I didn't treat them like they were homeless. I talked to them like they were human beings. I fed them. I took them to restaurants. You know what I mean? It's just the human factor in, I think, religion has somewhat been lost, and not necessarily just in religion, but just in humankind in general. Like we are all the same. We all yearn for the same things: love and acceptance. And for me, it's I've gone through what I've gone through, and it's taught me a valuable lesson to where, hey, the only real person, and a lot of you are not going to agree with this, the only real person that I can trust is myself. I know I will never let myself down. I know that I will always do my best, and I know that I can always rely on myself.
Well,
And
that statement sounds like a good statement, and
Right.
I don't know why you would say that people wouldn't believe in that statement, because you always should believe in yourself. I got to get off of here real quick, so I want to come on. I've been listening for a while. I've been coloring. I've been relaxing, trying to.
oh, you coloring? What you coloring?
Child, I'm over here. I really have been coloring, and I've
That's
been listening.
therapy.
Now, it is therapy, and that's what I've been doing. So I'm really enjoying this conversation. First, I want to say thank you, James, for allowing me to come up, because he knows I can cut up and shit sometimes. But I like when we have really intelligent conversations like that. I'm not just a person getting on here screaming, hollering, and hooping. Hello to everybody on the panel. I don't want to name everybody, but hello. I did take a couple of quick little points. I'm glad that you have this part two, James. I was here for you yesterday when you had part
Yes, you
one.
are.
And that was excellent. And then we
Thank you,
kept
baby.
poking you to talk about what you're talking about now. And you always said,
I
I'm going
promise
to
you.
talk about it later. You should. I'm going to
I
talk about it
promise you.
later. But you know how we are. We had to get up into it. So you allowed us to start this conversation, and then you picked it up today. Thank you so much, because I think that the things that you all are talking about are very interesting. I did hear, and I got to end it on a joke, but I did hear a lady say, "Not in my house," and I wrote that down, "Not in my house," and then that's what made me want to come right up, because when people say "not in my house," you ain't gonna do that in "not in my house," especially when it comes to gay issues. And my son can do whatever, my daughter can do it, but not in my house. See, that to me tells me that you got some issues with that. But then she did, after somebody asked, I don't know which
It was
gentleman it
me.
was.
It was me.
Okay, it was you, Jill. Yeah, Gil. And you asked, and then she corrected it in saying, even if she had straight kids, they could not F in her house. She said the only person that gonna F in her house is her, because she paying the mortgage. So I kind of feel okay with what she said, and now if I don't, it's ain't none of my business. But a lot of people, when they say those statements, oh, you can come over or you can do something, but not in my house, or I can work with these people, but not on my job. When they say that, they are telling you more than what they want to tell you. That
Yeah.
was one thing. Hold on, and I'm gonna get off. And then that one, the other thing was, I went to a black college, and the college was a school of theology, primarily. That's what the college was based on. And so I'm going to say about, I'm going to just throw out a number. I don't know. I work in accounting for over 40 years, so I think my number in the game might be good. I'm saying about 60% of the young, 60 to 70% of the, I'm going to say the men that were in the School of Theology were, in my mind, and I hung out with them, they were gay. Okay. We had to go to classes, church classes or whatever, because that was a requirement. You had to have 150 church choir hours, church hours or whatever. But I'm gonna tell you, if we didn't have that requirement, a lot of us would not have known about the situation that we are talking about right now. Now, I got people in my family. I'm one of those people be like, I got a white friend. No, I have people in my family are gay, and I never have even thought anything different about this. But you know what? In the church, how would the choir get going? Because a lot of the choir people and a lot of the music, I know, James, I'm sorry.
Yes, they are.
They get it two and together, bitch. When I tell you they come in
Say
there,
that.
so how you gonna be the biggest hypocrite? You come in there with your big church hat and your fan and you tied and stuff, and then the music director is of the lifestyle, and then you're gonna be here who's he hooping for 2 hours, and then as soon as you get off out of church and shit, did you see that sissy go over here sing that sissy thing? And I'm gonna tell you why I know they say that, because I've been around people that do that. And the last thing I want to say, I am mad with Lil Nas, and you know why I'm mad at him? I'm not mad at him in his goddamn video that he did with the Satan thing. That ain't my cup of tea. I'm mad because the little motherfucker trying to bring back goddamn Shirley Temple goddamn edges. You saw the baby hairs around his goddamn I like that. And
the baby hair.
Yeah, the baby hairs are okay.
Oh
That's
my
all
God.
I got to say, James. I'm getting off of this motherfucker. Kick me out.
That was so needed. That was so needed.
Thank you so much, View. Lord have mercy. Gil, let me say this.
Yeah.
I'm very open. You know.
Yes.
So as long as you got something that you believe in that leaves you feeling that you don't feel like you're alone, and the message of it is love, then I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. So whatever that is, I don't harp on what religion. As long as it's something and the message is love, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to know that.
Yeah.
Can I say something to Gil as well? Because I don't mean to cut you off, Gil, but I gotta go because I do have kids.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say this to you. Me and my partner, we get into it a lot because one of the things that he say is you always advocate for the other team other than me. And maybe it's the Libra thing in me, but I have to have balance. So to your to what you were saying earlier, like people don't understand. I have always been a person of empathy, maybe to a fault, but I have. And I have always felt where people were coming from in such a way that it has always touched me. So when you say people don't understand, it's a lot of people that do understand. Now, even though, people don't have your experience, it's a lot of people who have, that will fight for your cause without you even knowing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of conversation. It's been heated conversations in my household behind it, because I'm a person that knows that I've had cousins, I've had family members, and all those type of things, and I have had to stand up for them. My favorite cousin, that was something she battled with her religion. She was a Jehovah's Witness, and with her recognizing that I have the issue with, or she felt like she had an issue with herself, and it broke my heart when she got to the point where she really wanted to take her life. And I was like, there is no way that this religion is making you feel less than human. So I just want you to know that there's people that advocate for you. There's people that love you. We don't always have to agree with what one another does personally, but what we do have to agree with is to uphold humans and to love one another and to keep one another into good spirits. So I don't want you to ever feel bad or feel like that you don't have people listening. And just because those religious people turned their backs on you, I don't feel like that was God turning his back on you. And God is a free will God, from what I've been taught. So you can always come back. You can always believe as much as you want to believe.
Thank you. I thank you so much. I
love you, James. See y'all.
That
Thank you, baby.
nice.
Somebody got a window
I think that
open.
I speak for a lot of people in our
Thank you
community
for those words.
feel alone on things, and it's not one thing that I would say. I can't speak for everyone, but I think in our community as Black people, we don't cry, and I felt the need to be emotional when I heard my sister cry, because I felt her energy and I felt that she understood what I was saying, and it's one thing to have someone just talk and actually feel that someone actually cared, and so I got emotional, but and that's again why I say, like, hey, us as gay people, let's not be in attack mode all the time. Let's just give people time and a chance and knowledge to understand what we're going through, because they don't deal with what we deal with. That is very clear. They do not deal with or see what we see. They can identify with certain things, but unless you have lived the life of being exiled from the village, you don't really know.
That's right.
Right. LB?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say, you got a television on in the background, baby?
Oh, let me turn it down. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Or just mute yourself until you get ready to talk. That's all. And Nubiology, baby, you got an extra window open.
Okay.
Yeah, you got an extra window open. Sam? You're muted.
Yes, hello everyone.
All right. Welcome.
Oh, I'm muted?
Yeah, no, we can hear you now.
Can you hear
but
me
hold
now?
on a second, Sam. I can. Okay. Hold on. Yasmin.
Hey, I came back
You've
up.
Been waiting.
I came back up because I was listening to good. Y'all can hear me good, right?
Yeah, we can hear you, baby.
Okay. I wanted to kind of just come up because I heard Gil, and there was two things that was sticking out for me, and especially because I feel like I'm probably like one of the youngest people here. I'm only 22, and I had to restart my whole journey, like I said, over with my relationship with God. And so I wanted to come back real quick just to say this to Gil. Two things that you said. You pointed out before I left the first time that you saw the love that I have in me. And then you also pointed out a similar thing with LB and the emotion that she had within her when she was talking to you. And hopefully everybody that's hearing my voice right now takes to what I'm going to say next too, because that is the embodiment of a person that is walking with Christ. And that's not to sit here and toot my own horn, but it makes me feel good when people tell me that that's what they see when I communicate with them. And that's what we are supposed to embody when we talk to people who come from whatever background, So when you see those people who spew the hate, they are not walking with God. They are not living by Christ. Regardless of whether you choose to believe it or not, when you see that they're saying they're a Christian, that is not what they are if they are walking with hate towards you in their heart. I love to. My favorite thing that I ever saw when I started learning about Jesus and stuff was that he was sitting with prostitutes, because people gonna look at that like the average person is gonna be like, I ain't talking to no prostitute. Well, why not? Because Jesus.
Girl, I sat with the prostitutes. That is my favorite place to sit. Out of the prostitutes had to going on. I had a plenty of good time with my girlfriends that was working girls.
Exactly. So it's like, us people that really just want to live a Christ-like existence. I got a name that is Hebrew. My middle name is a whole Hebrew name. Like it's a whole lot just going on with who I'm supposed to be. But I chose to walk and live in the way that I learned that Jesus lived, which was to love my neighbor, which was to just show them the goodness of what Jesus is. And if they choose that and they choose to come and experience that with me, then come on. And even if you don't want to experience that with me, the fact that you just even can see it is enough for me to know that I did what I was supposed to do in that moment. Yeah. So don't hold on to what those other people were doing, because they're sick. And the church is full of sick people. It's a hospital.
Yes.
And unfortunately, they can't get past their sickness sometimes because they're too worried about what everybody else is sick with.
Yeah.
But there are us that are out here that, because I struggle myself. Like I said, I left my church when I was about 13, 14 years old because I felt judged. And I'm not a part of the LGBT community, but I just felt like I didn't fit in. I didn't belong because I didn't grow up in the church. I wasn't born into the church like some people. I went, then I wouldn't go, and I didn't feel accepted because people looked at me a certain type of way. So I left. But I held on to the values that I learned from other people that I met along my way of finding my way back. And I also just combined it all together to see that that's what this person that I choose to follow, which is Jesus, that's what he exemplifies for me. He exemplified that love and that understanding. And so that's what it's all about. And like they were saying, it's about that personal relationship. So whether you choose to, if you choose to go this way with God, it's not about what other people think. It's not about how they see your relationship. It's about the relationship that you're building. That is so true, and it's the most valuable thing that I learned, which brought me back. Because I didn't understand I had to have a relationship with him only. I thought I had to be accepted by everybody else.
Yeah.
I know it's not. I know it's not the same pain as being a gay person and really just being bashed that consistently, but I know the pain of not being accepted by the people that I thought was supposed to be there for me because that's what the Bible said.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a preacher, nothing. I'm 23. I'm still learning myself. I'm a little baby Christian. That's what I call myself. But if I can
Baby,
share
it's
the love
some
of God,
old people who
I'm
are
gonna
baby
do it.
Christians.
Yeah, I think for me, I will be just keeping spiritually based when it comes to, because also in certain concepts of reality, God means multiple things. My idea of God is light. It's ascension. It's peace. It's going into your next life. So my viewpoint on. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm me and Nubiology trying to get her sound together. Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm multitasking, babe. I'm multitasking.
My whole viewpoint on life is different than majority of Christians. I feel like we live multiple lives and multiple lives on different planets. In my personal opinion of myself, I lived a life on another planet as an extraterrestrial. I feel as though me being here, being that I'm so much more different than majority of humans that I meet on an everyday basis, that I consciously am not human. And I know for a lot of you guys, you're not going to understand it. You're not going to get it. You're going to be like, this nigga's crazy. But in my experience in life and what I've learned, I do not feel as though my consciousness is rooted in humanity. And I feel like, again, let me get deep into it. I signed a soul contract to come back here for this imperative moment in humankind's transition from being negative and evil and just being so negative towards each other. We're going into a new sector of humanity. We're changing. Look at all the protests going on around the world. Humankind is getting tired of being oppressed. If you look at all around the world, everyone is damn near protesting. So I came here to enlighten and show love and empathy to all the humans that I encounter on my journey here. So I know it's not Christian and all that stuff, and it's kind of crazy to most of you guys, but that's my belief system.
You happy?
Piggyback.
Hello? Are you happy? That's
Hello.
Hey,
go ahead, babe.
Hello.
Who's
we can hear you.
me, Miss T?
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
And just
Come on, Miss T, baby, because you've been waiting. Come on back.
Yeah, I'm probably coming in on the last end of the conversation, but there's just a few things that I do want to touch on, because we're all here for a season and a reason. With that being said, first of all, a lot of times what I think people misunderstand is that about church. Church is a building where you go to fellowship with like-minded people. Church is not. How do I want to say this? Church, you go to church to be around like-minded people. Church starts in your heart. That's just a building. That's brick and mortar. That can leave anytime. You build your own relationship with God or Yahshua or whatever, the higher being, whatever you want to call. So first of all, second, a lot of times people tend to see, when people can see your sin, they're more likely to comment or judge. But what you got to think about the sins that people cannot see. You might be sitting next to a murderer, a child molester, but because they can see your sin, they're more likely to judge you. No sin is bigger than the next sin. It's just that they can see your sin. First of all. Second, there's just so much. I do apologize. I did have a lot to say, but just in general, God, build your own relationship with God. Have your own relationship. Your heart has to be lighter than a feather when you leave here.
Yeah.
So God is love. God is love.
Yeah.
Keep your heart light as a feather.
My version of God is love and light all the time. And I think I may have gotten triggered by the whole term Christianity because of my experience. But God is real. By my own experience and what I believe in. But I just don't view God the way that you guys do. But I view God as light and love. And it's one of those things where that is what matters in humanity, is being kind, loving, teaching, showing, being a valid person in your community, no matter your skills. And I think I may have come off wrong to some people because of how I may have chose to address certain things and how I felt, because I was triggered.
I don't think so, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but let me tell you this. There's a story in the Bible, and if you're familiar with it, you'll understand what I'm saying. And maybe this might help a lot of people understand. There was one point in time when we were all one. We were all one. Everybody knew God as one. But what happened when they started trying to get up to heaven? God broke that tower down, the Tower of Babylon.
Yeah.
You familiar with it? All right. Okay. Yeah, with the tower. So what happens if this person, if he broke up the individuals into their own separate groups? Now, remember, we were all one at one time. We were all one. If he broke up this group and they went their way with their own language, this group went their way with their own language. This person, these individuals went that way. But now keep in mind, we were all one. So everybody knows we were one. So maybe sometimes people take their different interpretations of love and God because that's their language. And as we start going down in history, you're going to tell, it's just like if I tell you a story and you tell the next person and you tell the next person, but by the time it gets to the last person, the story is different, but it's still, the message is still there of love. The message is still of what God has. So we are, in the end, we're all members of the body of Christ, because we're, at the end of the day, we're all trying to get to the same place in the end. So doesn't matter how we all interpret it, because you may have learned that way. Yeah. But if you listen to the keywords that you're saying, you're still coming back to that one thing, which is God, which is love, which is light, which is enlightenment.
Christ consciousness.
Okay.
Yes.
So the problem is when man puts a definition on something, we run with it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all members of the body of Christ. You know what I'm saying? Arm, legs, we might be different,
yes,
but we're all trying to get to the same place in the end. You're trying to get to the head. The blood goes to the head.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yes. Yeah. So never always stand on what you believe. Always stand on your word. Always believe, and if you say, and if you feel whatever you feel in your heart and your soul, don't worry about what everybody else, because guess what? Remember, go back to the message. We were all one time, and just because you may take it and go that way with it and go that way with it, but at the end of the day, you're all trying to get back to the same place, to the light, to the head. Yes. But anyway, not to go on, I do apologize, everyone. Sorry.
Thank you, sister.
Yeah.
Thank you, sis.
Can I add to that?
Can I get your username? Are you LB? I can't see. It's hard for me to see my monitor.
LB is you talking about Gil? Yeah.
I guess the one I'm looking for, because it's hard for me to see my screen, is the brother that was crying earlier.
Yeah, that's me.
Gil.
I was a crybaby.
Gil.
Yeah, that was me.
Gil 6. Gil space. Gil space 6.
Right. So I listened to you, and it seemed like you were kind of I gathered that you were like felt pushed away from religion. Earlier I heard you say like in speaking to the homosexual community, you had said we had left religion alone, and then a little later after that, I think I heard you say how like the commonalities, you were speaking about the commonalities in religion, and I urge you to look beyond the dominant religion of this country, and I urge you to look beyond like the Western religions, like, or the ones that happen to be popular. Yeah, because people go to like, and the reason I say that, because like 96% of the world religions don't even mention anything in regards to a man being with a man. So I'm thinking like I do without religion, but I acknowledge that I live in a world that people do with it, and they see it as being useful. So if you're a person who are religiously driven, just know that there's over 4,200 documented practicing religions today.
Yes.
And you can find that in the majority of them. So the whole thing with condemning homosexuality, what I'm telling you is that's more an anomaly to the world religion.
Yes. Very much so. Yeah, so that's the whole reason why I asked. That's the whole reason why I asked how many of us as Black people know African gods, African religions, and nobody really had anything to say. Because we do not know our culture very well at all.
Apparently, if I can say something, apparently, a lot of the heterosexual hoteps do. They claim to know a lot about African gods and religions, and there's no space for homosexuals or homosexuality in it.
Like Nature Boy?
Oh, a bunch of them. Nature Boy. There's a ton of them, like slew of them. There's one on YouTube. I'm not gonna say her name, but I used to get. She's also a psychic, psychic medium. And how we even met. She made a video about there being some kind of conspiracy to turn boys turn people gay and to feminize the boys. And she said there was something, and she posted a video. And there is this guy on YouTube. He's an older Black guy, and he was saying something like some kind of it's in the plastic bags, the chemicals. There's something that's going on with even in the food.
There is something in. There was a Black biologist that found that there were certain frogs, and I forgot the environment. It's been so long since I've seen this, that certain frogs were turning from male to female.
Right. Yeah, we're probably talking about the same person. Yeah. And so this hotep lady, she was talking about it, but then she got into the she just said some things that were kind of like snarkish, snooty, like judgmental. And so I popped off in the comments. I did, and because I was, yeah, because it really upset me. And then we were kind of going back and forth, and that's how we met. So that's how we met. And but I ended up eventually getting like readings from her, and she told me her story, and she was actually pretty good. She told me her story, and she was like, "See, I'm nothing like you thought I was." And we were cool, you know. She was almost like a counselor.
Yeah.
But then when the Empire, the Empire show, I think it was within the first season, and then she did a video, and this was after I remember this was after the gay marriage had been passed in all 50 states.
Yeah.
And she did a video, and she was saying that she was just really going in on, like, she not going in, but she said she had to back out. You know, she had to cover her husband's eyes and her children's eyes. You know, every time she would watch Empire, she had to back out of it and give up on the show. You know, she was just upset.
Yeah.
She was like, "Y'all can skip to your fucking loo." Excuse my expression. That's what she said. And gay marriage is passed now. So I'm like, how do you go from being claiming that you were gay, accepting, but this is the thing. I've always said this. No matter how gay affirming, like if you're religious, if you have any kind of religion that you go by or belief system, that does not allow homosexuality, it doesn't matter how gay affirming you are, that's going to come out eventually. It's going to come up somehow. So I've always been very sensitive to that. So, and then I confronted her about that, and then we ended up, ending our business relationship, and because there's feelings of betrayal on my end, and but I've run into that constantly and consistently about people, So that, to answer your question, you were saying, a lot of pro-black people, a lot of hoteps, Hebrew Israelites. All these people who claim to know, I can't even think of any of the names of the African gods. There's plenty of them that I've heard, but so I mean, apparently there's a lot of them who that say it was nowhere in Africa is anti-African. Dr. Umar Johnson says that. Brother Polite, he says that all the time. A lot of them. So that's that.
Yeah. Hey, James. I wanted to try the Umar Johnson because I'm a diabetic, and I wanted to try the Umar Johnson's diabetic, I guess, healing thing. Would you be open to kind of chronologizing that with me, if possible?
Yeah.
Because I've never seen that ever on video. It's not to say it's not on video, but I've never seen that. But being a diabetic, that's the only ailment that I have is diabetes. And I wanted to, if I was going to do it, I wanted to be, because of us being black, I wanted that to be a thing that our black people see.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Nice. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, cool.
And you can just send me an email.
I will.
At Gmail.
I will, definitely.
Let me go back to one thing that he did mention, because I think the problem is, and I don't care if you black, white, yellow, or green, the problem is people focus too much on one sin. That's the problem. And if we can get over focusing on one, because all I hear is it is more sins out here than just being quote unquote gay. And I think that's what the issue, because you can see your sin, you can see a gay sin, you can see whomever, you can see their sin. That is the issue. And once we get past that, I think we can move forward as spiritual humans or whatever people. But the problem is, stop focusing on one sin. I see commercials with people smoking and overdoing it. Gluttony is a sin.
Yeah.
Adultery is a sin.
And that could be.
But I see more people now, but people don't focus on those sins. So I think we need to get away from just focusing on homosexuality. Because guess what? Those are people.
Right.
These are people.
But here's the thing.
I think what happens in these spaces,
gay people are saying, I was born this way.
All of those things, I agree with you. Like there is like a big emphasis on it, but I think it's because it's a lot of hypocrites that's doing the judgment. Because all of those things are being seen. You know, like you could see someone eating shellfish.
Well, I think what happens is a lot of people dance in and out of Old and New Testaments for things that are applied to their narratives that they want to issue.
Right, exactly.
Like people move in Levitical, like they move in and out of those. One thing I keep hearing within this chat, which I am very happy I'm hearing, is the word relationship. And a lot of people should invest more in relationship with God versus their investing in the religion that may even shun them. You know, the thing about it is, as my pastor always says, there's more than one highway to God. What happens is when you think about it in terms of history, when they talk about certain ways that people have conquered lands, what is it? What did they also do? They also spread as well. So a lot of times, I think instead of spreading the relationship, they just spread a religion and then saying you can't do this, and that's why you also have a lot of when you get into Hotep and quote unquote, you know, let's say pro-black, because I feel like I am definitely pro-black. I am a pro-black gay male living in America. But also there are those who say, you know, that Christianity may be a white man's religion. I mean, personally, I have my own beliefs and my relationship with God, and that is not to be judged by any other man, because as my best friend always says, my validation does not come from man. And one thing that Gil was definitely saying, that Gil 6 that was saying that about with love and light, and one thing that kept leading me to that verse that was in my head, I am the way, the truth, and the light. And it's one thing that I feel that we are all moving towards this space that of just being, I think, just higher beings and want to just be Christ-like, and, you know, having a Christ mindset. And I think that's where the focus should be, and maybe not the church mindset, because, I mean, of course, the church has been the nucleus for a lot of things, especially when it comes to Black, when it comes in, you know, with the homeless, or, you know, reaching out to people or helping people, and also civil rights and things, that has become the nucleus. So some people have created such family and such institution in these spaces that when they feel that if they were to break a part of it or to go against it, that everything they would have is lost. But sometimes they forget that everything they have is in God and not in these four walls.
Yeah.
So what do you guys feel about people who say they were born this way? That I was born, I don't know, because I consider myself straight. But what about people who say they were born this way? That's something I can't speak on, because I don't feel like that. But for someone who was,
right, for
how
me,
do you guys feel?
Are you a straight woman?
Yes,
I am. Okay.
I feel.
Did you ever question you being straight at all?
And no. Thank you, Gil.
You were born, and she was born that way, right?
Okay. Did you ever question that you were straight?
And I'm not, and so therefore I can't speak upon what a person who was not born that way. You know what I'm saying?
He's trying to make the comparison. He's just trying to make the comparison.
The difference is with I mean, when men and women are very different. And for men, if we're not attracted, our dick does not work. It does not function at all. So you know, it's one of those things.
Wait.
So it's one of those things.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's very obvious whether or not a man is attracted to a woman or not, and that's the thing that is kind of, because I've even had a conversation with my sister, and she, you know, she's a Christian. And we kind of got into it about that whole topic, and she tried to make the point of, well, I would like women at one time too, but I changed. I'm like, but it's a tad bit different for you, because technically you don't have to get hard. Technically, like, you don't have to do much of anything.
Well, yeah, they do.
Gil, we also have to understand that But also, let's also understand.
Can I ask her a question?
But hold on, in this room, we have to also understand that sometimes, especially within the spaces of America, sexuality is also under the gaze of a more masculine or male driven space, because when you look at, even in terms of certain things in genres of porn, there are, certain things are accepted versus other things that aren't in certain spaces. Even within gay spaces, you may see a higher statistic but in terms of lesbian porn versus those in gay male porn. So you have to also understand within those spaces as well, there is this such thing that happens. So, and it also is from straight males who say they don't, I guess they can say they're not allies in a sense, but they're allies in spaces that satisfy them. So sometimes we all understand that too when it deals between the acceptance of sexuality in terms of gay versus straight or LGBTQ.
Well, I'm not technically talking about acceptance. I'm talking about just the physicality of the whole situation.
Biology.
If a man can't get hard, he can't get hard. And if your vagina doesn't make him hard, it's just.
Could I ask a question to the woman? I'm sorry.
Nah, go ahead, bro.
Sure.
I had a question to the woman who asked about being homosexual at birth. I had a question. I want to know at what age did she become heterosexual?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Was that for me?
Yes.
Okay,
I think so. The one.
I'm just gonna put it to you. I'm just gonna say this, and then I'm just gonna listen because this is very interesting. I've learned not to speak on subjects that I don't know about. So I don't explain issues that I don't know.
Always speak, sister. Always speak. We need your voice.
And exactly. But if I don't know about a subject, I'm gonna ask about it, or I'm gonna sit and listen and learn. So right now, you're educating me on different situations, and I felt like I knew just as soon as I was able to comprehend what I had or feelings that I had down there, I knew if I was attracted towards this or that.
What age?
At what age?
I can't give a specific age because to me, How
young?
Well, she said first realize that it is something.
I mean, I don't want to ask a specific question like when did your pussy get wet? I don't want to ask that question.
Oh no, because
it's not that.
I'm just wait a minute. Slow down. I just kind of want to get a roundabout age. Were you young? Were you older? Were you in your tender ages? Were you in your adolescence?
Younger. But when I feel like when. No, I'm not gonna say a toddler. I'm not going to say an adolescent, and I'm not going to say a toddler. I'm going to say, when you know.
Yeah.
You know when you know. Okay.
Okay.
When you know. And you can't necessarily say that a 1-year-old who plays with a doll, they're gay. I've heard people actually come out and say that, oh, no, you don't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, again, I don't speak on subjects that I don't know about. I can only speak on what a woman, because that's what I identify and that's what I am. So I do not speak on subjects I don't know about. So I'm just going to sit back and listen.
Well, I also want you to engage, but I'm just about to hop off. But I agree with you too about the thought that a 1-year-old child just being sexualized in that way because they're playing with a doll. Like is a determinant of their sex, their orientation. That's ridiculous. But I'm about to hop off and make sure.
Don't have anything to do with sexuality. I don't know where that comes from. Dolls are toys. If you lay a bunch of toys down, kids are going to play with all the toys on the floor. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Little boys stop playing with dolls when someone tells them you're not supposed to be playing with dolls.
Yeah.
Until that time, if you lay a bunch of toys down, and because see, remember, I wasn't just a little boy once. I also ran a daycare. If you lay a bunch of toys down, Everybody gonna play until the point that someone says, no, you're not supposed to play with these ones, you play with these ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And a little boy will run to a doll, especially if you got, like my mom had 2 boys. So we didn't have sisters. You go to a house where there's girls, you're going right over to them because that's something different than what you got at home. Yep. Until someone tells you,
exactly,
no, you're not supposed to play with that. So people need to stop that mess.
But why are you not supposed to? Because realistically, when you think about it, if you want a little boy to be straight, you would expect them to play with female dolls.
No,
logically,
ignorance.
Logically, you would want them to play with
ignorance that is much older than all of us, Gil, said opposite. See, this stuff started long before we came along. That ignorance was taught because some fool came up with that mess, and that mess has been being taught for eons. That was way before us. That's way above our pay grade. But yeah, that is. And
if I can, do we also think that
girls?
It's so just it's reinforced. It's reinforced
over and over and over again.
Just reinforced masculinity.
You know, I knew what I liked when I knew I liked anything. When I knew I liked anything, it wasn't no girl. Wasn't even no question.
And when I knew that I liked anything, it wasn't a girl. I knew it was a boy.
Me too, girl.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So when you go back to say the feeling or it was just, it came natural.
It's just natural, and I believe that
it's just a natural. Either you gonna like a boy or you gonna like a girl. You gonna like what you like.
Yeah, right. And that ties into homosexuality, because the same way that you tied into liking males is the same way we tie into liking males. We do not have a choice at all. Like, we don't.
So again, I think we need to go back to kind of like what the subject, well, not necessarily the subject, but we need to go back to saying people need to stop focusing just on somebody being this and stop thinking that it's an agenda, because whomever wants to do what they want to do or be what they want to be. See, when you start opening Pandora's box, you're gonna get what you asked for, and it's gonna be a lot of things that's worse than somebody being with the same somebody. It's gonna be some things that you gonna make you look around and say, what the hell is going on? So we need to get ready for that.
Chez fixing to be some mess.
Okay, so that's what we need to be focusing on.
Well, my favorite song.
Go ahead, Sam.
I mean, my favorite song, "Sweep Around Your Own Front Door," but sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. That was one of my. I am like 37, but I remember listening to that as a young kid, and I don't know why I've always loved that song. But it's like you need to take 6 months to mind your own business and take the other 6 months to leave other folks alone. And I think, but also, as you know, even going back to the situation with the dolls, it's one of those things where it's this perpetuated sense of masculinity that is deemed to be in terms of a hierarchical sense, where, you know, at the time it just is energy. And going back to Miss T Baby, I love that you say, you know, you had a feeling at a certain age. It wasn't something that you had to explain or something that you could explain. It was just something that you just knew. And it was inherent.
Exactly. And the thing about
I think that's what a lot of, but I think what happens is also in the spaces of LGBTQ. Okay. Well,
I didn't play with dolls. I grew up around boys. I didn't play with doll babies. I played with the trucks. I wanted to play in the dirt. And that's the thing about it. We put too many labels on things nowadays. Yes. I mean, back when I was growing up, they called young ladies like me tomboy. Didn't necessarily mean I was gay or necessarily mean I like women or whatever, however you want to say it. It meant that I like doing things rough and tough with the Afro Puffs thing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But it also goes back to what I'm saying is like, but in a male. But I think what it goes back, especially with that, but it goes back to what I was saying, you know, within in a male gaze. It was softer when it came to you still. You were a tomboy and it was in a sense allowed to be a little freer.
Right.
When
exactly.
it gets to, certain males, especially with Black males, there's, there was something that broke my heart where I remember hearing the news because this baby, I forgot how old this baby was, but the father basically beat the child to death and his words were because the baby was crying like a girl. The young baby boy, I don't even think was a year old.
It's horrible.
Maybe a year old. Because they were crying like a girl.
Now those type of people are dealing with their
honestly,
own
that is
demons.
a level.
Yeah.
But that's the issue with the Black
exactly.
community.
But those
talk about.
That goes deeper than the Black community. Those are people. Those are people dealing with their own demons. Deeper. Yeah.
But what you got to also
and
understand
it's levels
is
to the peak.
It's things like that that people try to
warfare.
justify. It's things like that that people try to justify.
Yeah,
oh yeah, yeah.
Do.
Oh yeah. We deal with, and that's what I was saying. Even with some people,
why does the Black community never want to talk about the inconsistencies and problems in the Black community? Like that is something that needs to be fixed with the whole sexual stereotype.
People don't want to look at their own scars.
But we're taught not to. The Black African Americans were taught what happens in this house stays in this house.
Yeah.
And that's across the board. So even that is still that thing of I'm not telling my business. So
which ties into incest.
Suppressed. Well, it ties into a lot of things, but suppressed trauma is is a very strong thing that happens within a lot of communities, but especially but definitely suppressed trauma is something that definitely is a running topic that happens in households, especially from my experience within the Black household. There years later.
Yeah, and everything is put on the white
generations
man.
That because
no. Let me tell you this too, from experience, because
I put it on the white man because anyone in my house when it happened.
No,
exactly.
No, I'm not.
And everybody, that's the unique thing about everybody. Everybody is different. Right? Everybody has their own experience. But I actually had a child of mine come to me when she started playing on a basketball team, and I did not judge her. You know what I said? And I was happy enough that she did come to me and say, "Hey, Ma, I'm having these type feelings." But let me tell you what my cousin told me. That he told me sometimes in Rome you do what the Romans do. I didn't judge my child. I said, hey, sometimes you have to be careful of things that you follow as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes in Rome, you do what Romans do. I don't know if that may help somebody. I think I was led to say that it may help someone. But again, I did not judge my child. I did not say, oh, don't do this, don't do that. And she thought about it. And she said, you know what? I said, yeah, sometimes, I can't say if somebody was born like this or whatever. But what I can say is sometimes in Rome, you do what the Romans do. I can't say what everybody's individual. And I'm sorry that you did have those experiences. But every Black person, and it's not, sometimes we're conditioned, and this thing goes back deeper than what we even want to think about, because this goes back to post-traumatic slave syndrome. A lot of this stuff been around since the beginning of time. But when we go back to post-traumatic slave syndrome and what we were allowed to do, say how we was allowed to say it and whatever, we got to go back. This is deeper than, like I said, this is spiritual warfare at this point. We're in spiritual warfare because, again, it starts with your heart, where your heart is. Your heart has to be light than a feather. And you can take that how we want to take that. But at the end of the day, we're in spiritual warfare. And it's time for the people with like-minded minds to come together, with like-minded spirits to come together. That's where we can't keep blaming everybody for what we're going through, our problems, how we're feeling. But what we can do is start being around like-minded people, having open discussions like this where we're allowed to speak and say, hey, what we feel, what we don't feel. So with that being said, I'm going to back off.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yes.
Can I say something? Well, first I want to go just clarify what I meant about the white man. What I meant is that it's kind of like going back what the sister just said. Going back to slavery times, and historically we were made to be submissive, and so when we finally got our freedom and got some sense of power, it's like we went to the other extreme. It's like, well, we can't show no weakness. Like we got to be hard. We got to be tough, and so like when it comes to telling our business, it's like, well, don't go to the white person, don't go to the white man and tell your business, and so that's where we get that stigma of mental illness and mental health. It's like a lot of us, a lot of our families, it's in our family, like mental illness and all kinds of mental issues, but we don't take it seriously. It's like if you say, I think I need to go see a counselor, be like, are you serious? You going to see just go to the church, like talk to the pastor.
That's why there's problems. And then you take all that mess, you down there to the church, all screwed up, and now you taking your issues down there to the church. Now you down there at the church violating because the church think they can fix you, where the answers ain't down there at the church because the people that you need to talk to ain't at the church.
Exactly.
But you gotta also see that sometimes the people we come to are also broken people themselves.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Yep. And I also want to
sometimes it's like you said, some of the people we go to.
No, you good.
Oh, I had muted just quick. I was just saying sometimes we got to understand, as you were saying, even going down to the church, it may be some broken people. You got to be careful who you got praying over you too.
Yeah.
Even when you go into certain spaces, because it could be broken. It may be broken places and broken spaces that you have trying to, that you are, trying to pray over you and do certain things. But you got to also understand it definitely, that's why I say relationship with God, you're praying, that's one thing. But two, when these things are happening and like I said, suppressed trauma, as it is things that are perpetuated within generations upon generations, we were just taught to be quiet, or we were taught to just suck it up because it was it was weakness. Emotion was weakness. And the thing about it that was really interesting, I never forget this little meme. It was like a cartoon meme that I saw. And it was about a young boy that was kind of crying. And I feel it was like both the mother and the father in separate space were saying, be quiet, stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. It's in that sense. And then when they got older, the woman that he was in relationship with, she said, how come you never show emotion?
Yeah,
it was really interesting in this way because even with our bodies, we were taught we were not human in a sense. We were taught to it was all these things. We were taught we are not we were taught we were not human. We were meant to be broken, abused, and reused or replaced.
Yes.
And now and it passed down in so many ways that sometimes the internal value within ourselves and that psyche has been broken. And of course there's some things that we have to repair. But the thing is, when it's a generation before you who has also been in that space, you can't expect them to repair you. And it's sad because they didn't know the answers as well. So sometimes we got to pray for the generations that come after us to also just break that cycle, to break the generational curses that are also on us. And we got in that spirit, I think, to pray against that spirit, because I think, as some people also said in the chat, like Black people are not a monolith. There are so many things and so many intersections that are with all of us. There are some people who hopefully by a certain space have broken that curse, because I had a praying grandmother. But it's just one of those, it's a lot. I guess I don't even know how to put a period on that because it's just a lot. You never know what to do.
I want to.
This is interesting. This is the first I've heard of this. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say this, Tiffany. I disagree with being careful about who prays over you. God is my protector. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I'm covered. That's true. But again, even with all that, you're responsible to make good decisions.
Yes.
And if you're a person that will mess you over, What do you keep messing with them for?
Right.
See, I had a person in the church that I wouldn't allow to pray over me or my children. And I was related to him. I said,
you about to have me throw?
No,
Don't make me throw
ma'am.
that shoe. Don't make
No,
me throw that
ma'am.
shoe.
Right.
Say it.
I know your spirit's not good. You live in mess. And I'm not one of your favorites. You are basically praying against everything I got going on a daily basis. Now, what I want you with your grubby paws over me and my kids. Girl, you don't get out of here, honey.
Cleaning my face. Right.
Right.
Cleaning my face, trying to give me grace. What?
Down to the pulpit. That's what it's about. But no, that's the first I've ever heard of anybody that said that. I've never heard anybody say that. But it's interesting. It's interesting. But yeah, God definitely is the protector, and he does have, a covering on you, but we ain't got to make him work that hard. Not when I already know better. So,
that's right. He already gave you that discernment. He already gave you that discernment.
Yeah,
that's God working.
Because I already know he gave me that discernment to tell me about
that's
you.
right.
When God told you, God said, go across the street.
Can I just
That's
say something? I hate that. I think Lacey already left, and I wish that he was here so I could. I know. I wish I could have said it when he was still here, but I'm a full circle kind of person. So when things just come all the way back, I gotta point it out. And I was sitting here listening for a while, and I just found it interesting because when I came in, Lacey was up, and he was saying, when we're talking about Nas in the video, how what if it was God using the situation to create a conversation, basically. And in all honesty, at first in the comments, people was like, what is Lacey talking about? Da, 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 da. And at the end of the day,
you caught that.
Yes, and so
I actually have that in my notes. I wrote that down in my notes.
Because, at the end of the day, I wasn't going to sit here and negate the conversation about, us having to talk about what was happening, how demonic that might have been and stuff like that. But because I think her name is Aisha, or it's somebody in the comments also that said, in the Bible, it says that God basically said the battle's already won. And so, it really comes full circle at this point when we're in the space to have a conversation about things that need to be discussed from people of all different backgrounds of life. Because now we're in that space. Now the hurt has been put out there, and now we can actually fellowship and talk and understand and receive new things. So I'm just sitting here like, it's really crazy how even in the midst of the devil working, God still is in control. He's still got his hand on the whole situation. I just wanted to say that. I wish Lacey was still here.
There she go right there. There is Aisha.
Yes, her right there. Yes.
I want to say something because I want to answer the sister's question. I don't know if she's still up here, or she's in the chat or anything.
Miss T, baby.
Yes, there she is. Okay. I want to maybe this will add some clarification for her and anybody, and I want to know if anybody on this panel can relate to my experience, because I told this last night when I was on, but I'm gonna briefly just say it again for the people who aren't here. But I'm gonna just tell my experience, because you asked, going back to the question, how do you know you were born gay? And I grew up very religious in the Pentecostal church. I might as well just have been born on the pew. And big family, everybody religious. We knew that, and we knew even as children, like 5 and 6 years old, we knew the difference between gay and straight. Like there was a term we used to, I don't know if you're familiar with this, James, because we're almost around the same age, but you used to call it gay bobs. It was a term called gay. And so I even remember this gay boy in school who pinched my butt, and then my cousin beat him up for pinching my butt. And so I knew that was something you're not supposed to be. But so I like, even my old, I have an older brother who's a couple years older than me, and we were pretty close. And we used to, there was this girl pretty light skinned girl. Used to play on the playground and everything. And me and my brother, we used to go back and forth playfully, like, that's my girlfriend, that's my girlfriend, that's my girlfriend. And I knew she was pretty. I knew she was an attractive little girl. But then I think it was around the same age, same grade in school. I think it was like first grade, and I remember seeing this boy. And when I saw him, something it was similar to how I thought about the girl, but it was different. It was like it was down in my soul. Like that's the best way I can describe it. It was more emotional. It was like even it was sexual, but it was emotional as well. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. It's like the bell went off. That's the moment that I knew that I was gay. And I actually went and told because me and my cousin, we were the same age, and we were really close as well. And I actually went and told him because it was so compelling that I felt like I had to tell somebody. So I went and told him about it, and he just laughed it off. He was like, I said, can you tell so and so that I like him? And he said he just laughed it off and said, okay, I will. And but that's the moment I didn't even think of myself as gay. Like I never put that label on myself, but I knew that I was. And ever since then, it was like I just knew it. Like I knew when I had crushes on boys, and I knew, like, I can look at even to this day, I could always look at a female and say she's pretty, or she's sexy, or she's she's not that hot. But this one over here, I can do that, but I don't want to have sex with them. I can't bring myself to do that. But with men, it's a completely different feeling. And so and that's when I was like around the age of 5. So I don't know if anybody on this panel can relate to that, like the different, like when you knew that you were supposed to like the opposite sex, but when the first time you were attracted to the same sex, it was different. Like it just like a bell went off in your spirit.
I feel that way. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think what it was.
I had the same issue too. Like I liked girls up until I was like in middle school, like dry humping and all that shit. But at a certain
did all of that.
point, you do realize, like, hey, I like dudes more than girls.
Well, I think what it is as well, Rock, just for people to sometimes understand, you probably didn't have the language for it. There's certain things that even as we grow up, like, for example, how dogs end up using back, like things that are inherent. You didn't have the language for it, but you had the feeling. And that's one thing to say. And that's what we have to also understand. Sometimes people don't have the language for it in certain spaces and in what's going on with them. Even as us as adults, sometimes we say we can't say these words. We don't know how to say it. But I feel like this. That's even us as adults. Like that's still a thing that exists. And I think in that space, as you were growing up and also growing more within yourself, you started to figure out this language and how you felt and how to actually articulate through words what was going on inside. And I think that happens with a lot of us, straight, whatever we choose, even we see, it's just a thing. It's just with feelings. And sometimes feelings don't have all the words. Even from sometimes your lyrics, all I can say is la, 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 means I love you. It's even from things like that. You learned, as you grew. And that's a great thing. Because there's still people who are adults who wish they can actually grow into say the same language and how they feel about possibly being same gender loving or in these spaces, and still can't do it because sometimes they don't have the language.
That's true.
But and I gotta leave on that one. My Uber's here. I'll holler at y'all later.
All right, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
See you. I think sexuality is very different as a kid or young because it's very experimental. Because I remember being young, like middle school, like there was a girl that I was in love with, and I wasn't attracted to her sexually at all. But I still liked her. If that makes any sense or is relevant to anyone in the
Yeah,
audience. I
it does.
I still liked her. Um, so for me, that puts a standpoint on companionship. And do you have to necessarily have sex with someone that you are spiritually aligned with?
Mm, you don't, but you don't want to. Now, if you're going to be fair, you don't want to hold them up. Because can you imagine actually being? I mean, y'all will be friends. Y'all are friends. But do you honestly, if you love them enough, you won't hold them back from somebody that would be their complete package because you're not their complete package. You know what I mean? But sex is a part of it. So if you don't have that part of it, then y'all are just friends. Y'all really aren't equally yoked. Y'all are just really good friends. And if you love them enough, you wouldn't hold them up from a person that the whole.
Here's the thing with that too. I think sexuality is very misunderstood. Because for I can only speak for myself. I don't really enjoy men. I don't like men, like, but I like them sexually. But I do not like them to be around or be like a husband or some shit. Like, I don't find that enjoyable. I don't enjoy men being around all the time. Like, that's my story.
So I understand. Let me ask you this though.
Yeah,
so how are you with your sharing game? Because okay, so you find a woman that you love being with, and it's everything except for the sex part. Are you open enough to let her have
well, the thing is,
somebody extra on the side?
Well,
that's where the maturity comes into it.
The problem is that because of my viewpoints, no matter what I do, I will always be considered gay.
Yeah.
So I just tend to deal with men, regardless of my feelings towards women or not. Like, I think women are awesome. I think they're beautiful. I think they're amazing. I love them so much, but I'm not allowed to really be with them because
Says who? Who says that? That's your own restriction on yourself.
Because of society. Because regardless of whether a woman accepts you or not, society will find a way to make her feel lesser than.
No, society won't, because there's plenty of women out there who know that their men are bisexual and they accept and love their men for being bisexual. They just have an open conversation about it. If you go into it thinking that, oh well, society won't let this happen, it's not going to happen. But when you go into it honestly with a conversation and she feels the same way that you feel, y'all can work that out while it's not. Y'all can have that special bond that you guys have while you're still engaging in sexual relationships with men.
That does not mean that that's the woman that I pick.
Yeah.
And that does not mean that that's the woman that picks me, that has that understanding.
No one said that. I'm speaking on the fact that you saying society won't allow y'all to be together. I'm saying that if you put that restriction out there without actually trying to look for that or cultivate that type of relationship was not, you will always have that restriction there in your mind. You have to get outside your mind and actually try to put it in real practice and see if that is the truth. But you got to find someone who thinks the same way as you do, that you both pick each other.
I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that I can look all day for a woman that can understand me and accept me. But that does not necessarily mean that that's going to work the way it's supposed to. When you are a gay or bisexual man, things are not quite as cut and dry as that. Like, people's process factor into, depending on the woman's security level, it dictates what is possible. So I could find a woman that understands and all this other shit, and it's cool, but it has to be a secret. You know what I mean? Like it just, when it comes to sexuality, things are not so black and white.
May I ask you a question? How old are you?
36.
36. Okay. And do you have a lot of experience in relationships and sexuality and things of that nature?
I've had 2 relationships.
Okay. That don't mean that you have experience in it. That because you've been with me. How long were these relationships? Mind me asking.
5 years plus.
Okay. Are both with men?
No. One was with a man and one was with a woman.
Okay.
Okay. So do you not realize that there are different communities out here in the world where there are swingers, where men and women both understand that this is what we do, this is our lifestyle. Right. I like you, I love you, but yet we both have these needs and urges that we must fulfill as well. So we go to these certain parties, or certain clubs, certain things where we engage to fulfill our desires, but yet we still love, cherish, and respect each other.
Yes, but that's not necessarily my experience. Like
I know, yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. But there's somebody out there exactly like you that is a female. They're out there now.
Hello, one of them sitting on the panel right next to you, baby. Men that like men is not a deal breaker for me. And it's a lot of women that go there. I get what you're saying, because a lot of women go there with the, oh, he was down low, he was this. Because when men try to be honest, they get eaten alive. Meanwhile, you at at the baby shower eating all the tuna fish sandwiches you can and don't consider yourself a lady. But you're sitting right next to me. That is not a deal breaker for me at all.
I love newbieology, man.
So do I.
I love you back.
So I said, like when you put those restrictions on yourself by saying, "Oh, that's not for me," or society says so, you have someone like Newbieology who's beautiful and still understands, hell, we all have urges, and I'm here as long as you're honest with me about it. It could probably work if we ever get there.
Yeah, there's nothing about you that's so strange that there's not another puzzle piece somewhere. There is another puzzle piece somewhere. You just got to run into it. It's when you run into it.
Yeah,
now, you might be tired of looking because you really shouldn't be looking for love. It actually
right.
It finds you, but don't ever believe that there's not a puzzle. It's all a puzzle, and there is another piece that fits you perfectly.
Absolutely.
You ain't got to hold your breath. You ain't got to bear down. It just fit.
Yeah.
Well, and if that piece is female, trust me, she's somewhere walking around.
And society is irrelevant. What society thinks.
Yeah, who cares? Thank you, Michelle. Who cares? But that's what I was saying. There's people that they have an arrangement, and an arrangement is not always a bad thing. And I definitely do understand that I don't want people hanging around me all the time. Like, I don't date now, and I'm trying to kind of move myself into that direction. It's like, oh, do I want to open myself up to it? Then I'm like, but then I got to be bothered. Then it's, where are you going? Where are you going, Beach? I'm going to be where I'm at. Get out my face. And I know that is hard. It's hard to find somebody that's okay with that. So, yeah, I mean, child, we're all complex. If you're not complex, who the hell want to be bothered with you?
Right.
So and you got plenty of time, Gil. You're young.
Yeah. And I just think that, I mean, what I'm hearing Gil say constantly is that, like, he's putting these restrictions on himself and then deflecting that restriction he put on himself onto society as a whole. And I want you to understand that the only limits that you have on you is those limits that you put on yourself.
On yourself.
Right. Because what is that considered? Because that's, you graduate to different letters in our alphabet. So gay may not actually be your letter. There might actually be another letter that's more suited to you.
I mean, for me, again, I'm only speaking from my experience. Like, I'm not trying to be difficult or anything like that.
No, not at all.
I can only shoot from my experience. That's all I'm saying. Like,
right. That's not difficult.
Attack me.
Like pansexuals and stuff. Do you think that they got it all together? Anybody woke up and said, "Oh, I'm pansexual," and it's all this other stuff. When we're growing up, you know, straight, gay, and then somebody throws in bisexual somewhere in there. And where all the other letters come from?
That's
Sometimes
right.
you got to get out there and be in the move and to figure out where you actually fit in. And another letter keeps coming every 6 months, so it might be a letter that ain't even there yet.
Hey James,
That is the perfect fit for Gil.
a friend of mine. Go ahead.
Say it again. You said something about polygamy?
Yeah, so I'm on the train, so they're constantly talking shit. But I asked, like, what do you guys feel about polygamy in both hetero and homosexual relationships?
You know what my answer is going to be? My answer is the same for most things, Gil. Do it make you happy? Carry on.
And
now, for me, it wouldn't work for me personally.
That's right.
But if it make you happy, I'm good with it. Have everybody over for dinner.
For you, you can do whatever you want to do. It's not. But me, I believe in monogamy.
Yeah, I'm a selfish lover.
Me too.
So I'm selfish and greedy at the same time.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yes,
like
I can say that I can be bisexual because I'm not gonna.
See, look here. Aisha said, "Gil sounds fluid to me." Where's the letter in the alphabet for that?
I don't know. Let me help. Can you help me find it?
Girl, it's out. Maybe it's the letter is a Y for yum, honey. I mean, child, want some of everything, honey.
Or maybe we need to add an F in there for fluid.
F for fluid.
Right.
Yep.
That's what I said. Maybe it's a letter that ain't even there yet.
Right, and somebody said we need to add an H so the heterosexuals don't feel left out.
How do y'all feel? Well, I couldn't hear everything because again the train's making noise and shit, so I didn't hear everyone's response. But how do you feel about thruples, like a three-way relationship?
Not for me, but that sounds more like down the road. Yeah.
Once again, I'm selfish and greedy, but I'm selfish.
Yeah, but I mean, but with Gil, it might work for you. It's fine. Right. I'll have all three of y'all over for dinner. But me personally, I'm not sharing my man on purpose at all.
Right.
That's
me neither.
Not
That's
on
what I
purpose.
said.
Why though? Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm selfish.
Israel, what?
Ain't no time. You think
I'm selfish? I'm selfish.
I was ready to get to Gil. You're not gonna take me down that road. I was ready to give you something real visual.
Some of us.
It was going to blow your hair back on that train, Gil.
Some of us like attention, a lot of attention. Some of us need a lot of attention. So if you got a third person, if you got a third party, then your attention is being split halfway. So
let me say it, James. I want to put this dick or her pussy on your breast. Period.
What happened?
What type of attention do you need?
He asked why.
What type of attention do I need?
Yeah, all you guys. What type of attention do you need? Because people say that like the attention thing is a problem, but like, what type of attention do you need?
All of yours.
No.
What I have.
You can't.
What I have right now.
Why can't I? I'm two whole people up in here. I serve in 2 spots. You don't think I need a lot of attention?
I need your undivided attention.
You gotta be able to deal with Milan and James. Good luck.
Be
undivided
of attention, because a lot of people say like in the beginning of a relationship you have to ask for what you want and state what you require. So in me asking you that, I'm like, what type of attention do you want or require?
All of yours.
That's too vague.
Undivided.
Okay, go to work, go to the gym or whatever it is you're going to do. Then after that, all of yours.
Exactly. Yeah, I want to be the center.
And I say that because I'll push you out my face quick too. because you know I'll be busy.
Why would you
be down here talking to my people and stuff? I'll be busy. I don't need nobody sitting over there talking about, boy, shut up. I'm over talking to my people. But what I'm not going to do, see, I was trying not to get all verbal with this. Listen, Gil, what I'm not going to do, I'm not never going to get up for another bitch to sit down. You got that?
Okay.
You get it? Okay. That's what I mean.
But like I said, I don't want to take his dick or her pussy on your breath.
But see, I wasn't trying to say
Thank you.
What's wrong with pussy on the breath?
I ain't got none. I don't have one.
Thank you. Come on, James.
I don't have one. So how does that find that way in here?
Well, what's wrong with pussy on the breath? I'm asking everyone. Like, why?
Well, here's the thing. Some of us don't like it at all. Okay. So if you're, let me bring it home because you got it's two of y'all who's bisexual on the panel, but I am completely gay, 100%.
Okay.
I am too until Fifi come around.
Yeah, that's right. And James is too. And so, but I'm gonna bring it home. I'm gonna give a personal example. I'm gonna tell my business. Okay, so I'm in a situation. I'm not in it right now, but I was, where I'm pretty much in love with a guy who is, he's not completely gay like me. I think he's mostly gay, but he's into women as well. So he's sexually fluid. So I was in a situation where I would have had to end up sharing this person. And on top of that, he's very popular. Like he's very popular. He's almost a public figure.
That's awesome.
And he's very active on social media, and he's a Gemini.
Oh boy.
And, yes, exactly. And if you know anything about Geminis, they're two people. They're two different people. It's actually the twin sign of the zodiac. So, even when I was dealing with him, he literally has two different profiles on Facebook. He is everything that a Gemini is, and he's flirtatious. He flirts with everybody. He likes attention. He likes when people flirt with him. And me, I'm a Leo. And if you know anything about Leos, we're the king of the jungle. We won't, we're the king, So I want you here, and we're territorial, just like a lion is. We're very territorial. And being that I'm a Leo and I'm also a gay Leo, okay, there's gonna be there's good and bad traits. Yeah, there's going to be problems. Yeah. Yeah, so there's good and bad traits on every zodiac, but on the negative side, when it goes into the negative side, Leos, we can be jealous, So, because I don't like women like that, I love women, but not sexually. I would feel insecure. Like I would honestly feel insecure, like if I had to share this guy, and I would feel like I'm not completing him. Like if I have to. Okay, you're going home to her during the week, but when you go on vacation, okay, you can go with him, or go with him on the weekend. I'm like, no, that's like somebody throwing me crumbs, like the leftovers. Like, do you like leftovers? Do you like crumbs over somebody's table? So
some of y'all don't mind being second best.
Some people don't. Some people don't, but I'm not that person.
Let's get a red rum, honey. Red rum.
Yes.
Why do you feel uncomfortable with something you don't have to compete with?
Because who said that you can't compete with it?
Because
you will be competing, because there's always, that's what happens when there's an extra person involved.
Exactly.
You'll always sway.
But wait a
minute. Favor, and you're done.
But,
yes.
Well, why do you have to feel insecure or uncomfortable with something that is not even like you at all? It's two separate things. So why do you feel the need to feel uncomfortable or insecure about something that has nothing to do with you? They're like two separate things. They get what they get from you, and they get what they get from the other side. So,
but it don't work, Gil.
Why
it don't
doesn't?
work?
But why?
Because then because you're not controlling it. You're not controlling the narrative.
And it's different. Like
that I have to wait for anything, for any reason, and it concerns that other person, we got a problem.
Yeah, because it is your business. Like it does concern you. You know, even though it's somebody else, it's still. Yeah. And maybe this is what people don't understand about sex. People have different ideas of sex, because my idea of sex is it's the highest form of intimacy, the highest form. And there are spirits, there's soul ties that come with having sex. So you mean to tell me I'm all in on 100%? I'm committed to this, and you're halfway in. You're back and forth. Right. No, no, and that's not.
You cannot compete with a woman, and the kicker, you can't compete with another man either.
Exactly. That's why women will say that.
With anybody, because it's not on you. It's on the other person.
Exactly. Again, exactly.
The first time that it don't sway my way.
Yeah, and there's marriages that have been ruined during threesomes. Like people done threesomes, and a marriage was ruined. Relationships was ruined.
Every time somebody do one, threesomes always. And listen, that's one of my favorite things to write about. And just about every book except for my memoir. Well, yeah, I didn't tell about it in my memoir, but every book except for my memoir got a whole nasty piece of three-way love affair going on.
Why does it have to be a competition? If you are secure in your own self, why is there a competition?
I'm secure until you don't come when I call.
Exactly.
So a phone call can make you feel insecure.
When you don't come?
That's not good.
It wouldn't be good for you, because if you don't come when I call, you don't come no more.
No, seriously.
But I'll be honest in the beginning, so I don't have those problems. But I can't do it. I know that about myself. I can't do it.
I'm saying if someone was into that, like, why does someone answering your phone call make you insecure? And I'm not
just a phone call, because if I call you and then I say, there's levels to it.
Here we go, pattern.
I need this. I need it right now. And you get to trying to tell me about how you can't do it because you got to do it. Right now, and then if there's children involved, then you really can't. I mean, you and the other person, but when there's kids involved, you lose.
If I can't give it to you right now, you ain't gonna get it.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. You just won't be involved no more.
Yeah, but either way, hey, ain't shit to do. It has nothing to do with me.
I'm telling you, I'm just being honest, Gil. I am I said this. I think I just said this on the other live. I am a selfish lover. My very favorite song by Toni Braxton is called "Selfish." It was never released as a single. Look it up on your YouTube when you get a chance. Type in "Selfish" Toni Braxton. Listen to it. It's a beautiful song, and it tells you everything about me. I swear Toni was in my head when she was getting that written out. It's everything about me. I am, and I know it's a fault, and it's on my side, but that's all right. That's all right.
Here's the thing, and I don't even think it's a fault, because I mean, look at what our grandparents did, like back in back in the days. They got married to one. They married their high school sweethearts. They were virgins until they got most. By
the time they 40, they miserable.
And these people stayed married for 50, 60 years.
That I knew about. No, they did not do none of that shit. I don't know what random folks you knew about, but that did not happen.
Well, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the old days.
There's 14 and 15 years old.
Why are you trying to live your life through old connotations? Like, why go through old stuff to be happy? Why
can't you do it?
Like, why?
I can't do it. I cannot do it. I can't do the sharing thing. I just can't do it.
I feel the same way. I can share my food. I can share my money.
So now we're gonna flip it around, Gil. So you be okay? You be all right with that?
What?
With you having a lover and you call me and you're like, come, I need something done. And I'm not even saying it would be
Do you want to be honest?
I'm like, nope, can't do it.
Do you want to be honest?
Yes.
I don't give a fuck. Because here's my thing. I'm not dependent on anyone's perception to feel good about myself. I do not rely on other people's opinions to feel good. Sorry, the Metro's talking again for some reason. But I do not need anyone's gratification to feel good about myself. I feel good in myself about my own accomplishments. So I do not care about what other people think or what other people perceive, and I do not worry about like feeling some kind of way if someone finds someone they find interesting in a different way than they find me interesting. Because that's the thing that is a little bit difficult for people. It's like, just because someone else finds someone else interesting doesn't mean they don't find you interesting.
No, that's not it. It's the issue comes when, when you're into a person, sometimes there's a time when you just want them. You just want to be
yes. It's all about them, all about that person.
Spend that time with you right then. What are you supposed to just do without?
But why? Why do you feel the need to have one human being on this planet with you at that time and moment?
Date, then.
Huh?
You don't need to date then. No. You don't really like them that much.
No, I'm seriously asking you, like, why do you feel the need to be with one person to make you feel good for that amount of time?
Because there's something about that one person that makes me feel that kind of way. And nobody else can make you feel the way that
that person is exactly, that person is special. Like
I would choose that one person.
So are you kind of selfish to where they feel the opposite? To where there's someone else that makes them feel better than you do at that current moment in time?
I'm that selfish. I'm not that jealous. I'm that selfish.
It sounds like it though.
I am. I'm that selfish. I don't want nobody else I don't want my peace making somebody else feel like I feel. No.
Your peace is your peace. Ain't got nothing to do with the other person.
Oh, it does. I don't want to share.
Your peace ain't got nothing to do with another human being. Your peace is your peace. You should feel peaceful regardless of who is in your presence. And if you don't, that is your issue, not theirs.
Oh, I'd be good with that.
Well, maybe this is I think the disagreement is coming because maybe we have different ideas, and people have different ideas of intimacy and sex, what sex means to them.
Because I'm not going to.
I said nothing about sex at all.
No, but it matters. It matters in a relationship.
No, because I said nothing about sex. You gotta realize I said nothing about sex.
And I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about in relationship.
And there's going to be sex in a romantic relationship.
But that's not everyone's relationship where sex is a
emotional cheating. For some people, is even worse than physical cheating.
It's worse.
Yeah, we understand that.
Yes, it is.
But you have to establish if you're going to have third parties and whatnot. And personally, I'm open to it if the situation is right. Everything got to be right, and we got to have an understanding from the beginning. But it's not always about that. There was a guy I dated years ago, and our thing was to go have coffee in the morning. That was our thing. We would go sit at a certain restaurant, and we would have coffee. And lo and behold, some person texted him, and I'm not a phone goer through, but it kept going off. And at that time, phones were like, when the text pop up, it's on the front screen. And the message took off and said, I enjoyed coffee with you at Starlight. Looking forward to doing it again.
Because it was something that y'all had together, you know,
Right.
and it was
Ooh.
supposed
And then
to
what you
just be
say? Not my
between y'all,
goddamn man and my goddamn coffee.
Ooh.
right?
No, but
Like
Not my caramel
I've been with
macchiato.
my partner for
And
over
that's
5 years.
coming
I've been
from
with
a
my partner
person.
for over 5 years. I wish the fuck he would go have coffee with another nigga that I don't know about.
I knew where he was. I knew why this one came up here, honey. I said, I can't do it, Gil. I can't.
Look, I call me selfish, call me whatever. I don't share, and especially when it comes to emotional cheating, because what can't you find that in me that you could find in somebody else?
Come on. Come on.
So I don't play those poly games. I don't do that, because all that sharing stuff opens up the doors for other stuff,
It does.
and I don't want
Absolutely
to be a
does.
part of it. It's just like a black hole. It's always something that needs to be fed. It
You know, a
starts
black hole
it
always
starts out
gets people in trouble.
right. It starts out with just, hey,
Or a
let's
wormhole.
communicate with somebody else, or let's do a threesome, or then it becomes an open relationship, but then it becomes, oh, let's invite a third party, a thruffle, and then it becomes more than that, as you see all on social media. It's just a never ending cycle.
Yeah, it's a snowball. It just keeps rolling and rolling. And look at Evelyn Lozado and Chad Ochocinco. Like how she would always say she was okay. You know, I know you're a famous whatever he is, basketball player, football player, and
Football.
like yeah, football. And I know you're gonna have women all over you, and it's okay. But it was okay, and
But
then it
let's
kept
think
being
about
less and less okay until they
Right.
ended up, you know, in a nasty divorce
but
because it
let's
wasn't okay.
but let's think about our people that we love. Like let's say a Bob the drag queen who have two boyfriends. One of his boyfriends have a girlfriend. Then his other partner, his other boyfriend, sleeps with other people, and so the Bob. There's just too much going on.
Child.
Listen. Okay, you guys are way too concerned with about what other people are doing with their spare time.
You better.
Our number one
Are we too concerned, or are you not concerned enough?
Wait. If you are concerned or have concerns with what someone that you consider a relationship or monogamy with, if you are concerned with what their practices is outside of your presence, then you don't need to be with them.
But that's not the point. That's not the point that we're making.
I don't agree with that at all, because when I'm not in your presence, you represent me, and when I'm not in your presence, I represent you.
Okay,
the people that we know, we've been together for 5 years. Everybody knows that we're together. People don't even send us 2 invitations anymore. They just send us 1 because they know the other person's coming. So I say that to say, if I'm with you and I've been with you for a period of time, and we've been together and we are a monogamous relationship, and we agreed to be in a monogamous relationship, what you do outside of me does matter to me.
It does.
Because
what
you do outside of me still affects me.
You are that person. You become one. Like the two become one. That's the traditional view of.
Right. And the expectation is if we're in an exclusive relationship, my expectation is that when you're away from me, I shouldn't have to worry about what you're doing.
Exactly.
But the majority of you guys worry regardless.
Well, let me
I don't think that's the case at all. I don't worry about what my partner doing because we have that understanding.
If you're going to be free to do whatever you want to do when we're not together, why are we together?
Right.
Why don't we just be friends?
I totally agree.
With benefits.
WBs, right?
Friends with benefits. Huh?
I totally agree.
I agree. Not everybody is meant to be in a relationship. I totally agree with that. Not everybody is meant to be in a relationship.
Right.
So just get down every now and
again. I got people that I know that sees relationship as prison. You feel me? So prison. It's not for everybody.
Now that works.
You know, but I see it as security. I see it as
security. Where?
Companionship.
Huh?
I see it as companionship. I see it.
It is.
I'm asking you a serious question. How is it security?
Because I know if anybody in this world, I know who got my back.
But
I don't care regardless of what it is. I know it's not about monetarily.
How is it security?
It's not just about monetary. It's
no,
more than
it
that.
is monetarily.
It's not about
monetarily.
No,
What have to
you
do
be
with
secure
But it's not. No,
mentally.
it's more than monetarily. It's monetarily. It's emotional.
Well, he knows that when I get here, I'll be spoiled because this person will be
It's emotional security. It's physical security.
Regardless of what my love language is, I know his love language and he knows mine, and he feeds that, and I feed his.
And money may not necessarily have anything to do with the love language.
Right.
It has nothing to do with it because I'm the
trust you with
breadwinner.
my heart.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it has nothing to do with just the sex aspect of it, even though that's still a good portion of it as well. But for me as a gay man, I've always been the type of dude that I don't want my name out there in the streets as a person that get around like that, and I don't want my numbers to go up because I'm 32 now. When I was in my 20s, I would smash everything that's walking, but now I'm of a certain age to where it's just another body. At what point do we stop feeding our natural, just the natural aspect of a person, and it becomes more than just that? Because now one night stands are just so weird to me at an age that I am now, because I just don't see the fulfillment in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I start, and then at the end of it, I'm like, shit, I could have did this shit myself.
How do you guys?
Exactly.
How do each of you guys feel about dating someone that does not need you?
That doesn't what you?
That does not need you.
Oh, but
then in what
I
me in what way?
I prefer to need me.
I want someone who don't need me.
You better not need me. You're gonna be mad as hell. I already told y'all earlier.
I think Gil 6. I think you're equating like wanting monogamy and security and commitment with being needy and insecure. Like I think you're equating that with us being like with somebody being just needy. I think that's what you're equating it with.
But the thing is, y'all think about it. When you really love somebody, though, you do need them. You do need them, and not in the way that Gil is saying, but you do need them.
Need them? Why do you need anybody?
Because Gil, you're not meant to be alone.
Have you ever actually been in love, Gil?
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask that question.
Not yet. Not yet.
That's
okay. Okay, that explains it all.
We're just gonna leave you alone, because that's what the problem is, baby. You ain't had nobody take and love you, boy. You don't know what's going on, child.
That explains it all. Nothing else needs to be said.
No, you're gonna know when it happens, baby. I'm telling you, when you walk around with one shoe on, it's gonna get you. Just wait. You're gonna remember we had this conversation. Send me an email.
The difference with me is that I do not require or need or want anybody.
For now,
I'm perfectly fine by myself. Like I make my own money. Like I got my own everything I've got.
You gonna still have all that.
Like I don't.
I just feel like you take introvert to a whole nother level.
Yes.
It just ain't happened yet.
Honestly, I think that it's trolling right now to this point. I think it's trolling at this point. To be honest with you, I just think it's trolling at this point. It's trolling at this point. I do.
It's gonna happen, though. That's all I'm gonna say, Gil.
What?
Send me an email. Send me an email when it happens. You're gonna have all your money. You're gonna be talking that shit. Then you're gonna find yourself staying in the house. You have one sock on and one shoe on. You're gonna that motherfucker got me. That motherfucker got me, and I'm gonna tell you. I said the same old thing. Oh, that ain't gonna happen to me.
I just don't. That just sounds very
I
dreary
got
to
so
me.
messed up with it. I ain't wanted to do it again since. It done been 18 years, going on 19 years.
I don't know
That's
how you
how
do
bad
it.
I was with my one sock and one shoe.
I don't know how you do it. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. You go to your independent ass apartment. into your
By
independent
yourself.
ass bed, and,
Right.
By
and then
yourself.
you rolling over in a full size bed to the
Yes.
left and to the right, just trying to get
Yes.
It's a
warm.
queen size.
I
Like,
just,
it's
I,
a queen size.
No, bro. Keep going. Bro, keep going.
I'm just saying, like, I just don't understand. That don't
Right.
seem like no type of life for me.
But that's my issue with a lot of people, is that they do not understand what's not in their reality. I don't need what you need, and I'm not peak.
And that's cool.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm not talking about you in particular. Like, I'm not attacking you at all. But I'm speaking about majority of people that feel the way you feel. I do not require or need what you need to be happy. I don't.
Well, you'll be happy by yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm happy.
what
Now,
you
trust
eat
me, like I
what
said,
you
I've been
eat don't make
celibate
me
for
shit.
18 years.
So
I'm very happy. But I know if I
But at
care,
the same time, we're having a conversation. So what I do and what I eat makes you shit. Makes no difference either way. We're having a conversation.
But so with your
Gil,
logic,
what is it that you want from a relationship, Gil? What do you want from a relationship?
Nothing.
You don't
No,
want
do you want a relationship? Do you want a relationship?
But that's the thing that's never talked about. That I need to talk about is that not everybody wants to be in a relationship.
And that's true.
That's fine.
That's really true.
There's some of us because the conversation I get from a lot of you guys is that if you're not wanting to be in a monogamous relationship, you should say that. And there's people like me, there's like, look, I don't want to be in a relationship at all. Like, I'm good. I'm happy in myself. I don't need you for gratification. I don't need you to be around me. Like, I'm good. You know what I mean?
But you don't be having like an itch that you need scratching every now and then. Like,
no, well, yeah, but then when you think about it, look, this is what happens, Logan. I be thinking that I do. I be thinking I be having an itch that I want to scratch, and then guess who I run into? Somebody like Gil, and then I be running around mad as hell. Like, what the hell did I just get myself into?
Really?
Like, you know, an itch that you just can't reach, that you need somebody to scratch for you. I don't know.
If I need an itch to be scratched, I can call to get the itch scratched.
Right.
But that's
so you just
and that's cool.
And that's yep.
When you understand that, then you can function that way. And that's cool.
But that's the thing that I feel like you guys don't understand is, like, I don't have to have a companion to or someone that I'm in love with to get there.
And that's cool.
I just always believe that nobody in this world is meant to be alone. Nobody in this world is meant to exist alone. I mean, as a human being, we desire companionship.
I do
not. Yeah, I'm taking this without you feeling attacked.
Not at all.
Yeah, I need to say this without you feeling attacked. I'm not trying to attack you at all, but I'm listening to everything that you said for the past 5 hours we've been on here. Your conversation is not one of someone who says that they don't need someone in their life.
I was going to say that. I'm glad you said it, because I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to say it.
It hasn't happened yet.
That's not your
thinking
conversation.
the same thing.
Well, it's not. Your conversation that we've been having for the past 5 hours is not a conversation of someone who is totally secure in themselves by themselves.